I think it's safe to say that the venerable art supply business has been over the years and is increasingly becoming over the years a kind of lodestone, a kind of ground zero for the creative impulse in the West End. I mean, it's the place, that it sort of represents creativity in the visual arts.
The nice thing about this store, which we've been around for a long time, but the nice thing about this store is that there's really an emphasis to the professional artist.
Yes.
And we employ a lot of people who are knowledgeable. They work at their, virtually all of our staff work at their own creativity.
Right.
And it really contributes something. It's actually interesting because the supply business, while it's actually fairly small in terms of business sizes, is very complex.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take, for example, a printmaker who really knows his products and knows the history and who makes the grounds and all this kind of stuff, it becomes very complex very quickly.
Yeah, there's scholarship involved, right?
Right. And I always say to my staff, there's no way that you can compete with that level of knowledge. I mean, you accommodate it, right?
Yeah.
Really, I mean, that's what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. How long has the business been in operation?
I started selling art supplies in 1973.
It's a long time now.
And incorporated in 1978.
Yeah.
So 40 years.
Yeah. And you were painting at this time, as you have been all along.
Right.
So it was kind of a nice match, wasn't it, to sell art supplies and also be making your own work?
Absolutely. It really gave me an opportunity to marry the two sides together. I've always been very interested in business. My background is really accounting.
Yes.
And I started to audit books when I was 13. So it was a very, it came with its problems. Starting businesses is not quite as easy as what it looks from the outside.
It looks romantic from the outside.
But it's yielded, this one's yielded great things. I mean, I'm in the process of setting up a foundation, and we're going to build a museum.
Yeah.
And I believe by the end of this year, the foundation will have assets of between $2 and $3 million. So.
God. We have a board of board of.
We already have it. We're already accredited.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So we have all of our government. I've already started to lay out a program for the next 2-3 years.
The entrepreneurial expertise of all this would seem to me to be in opposition to the demented behavior of a creative artist. It's hard to bring those two poles together.
It seems that way. For me, it's been, if you think of music is essentially a very complex mathematical problem. Or a solution, depending which way you want to look at it. But people have said over the years that music is tremendously mathematical. I agree. I mean, the math seems to be very cold, and the arts are very hot. But somewhere for me they're together.
Now, over the years, I assume. It's pretty clear you've been spending more and more time as a practicing artist. So I guess the business is kind of in free fall or looking after itself or on automatic pilot or something?
No, I'm involved in my business every day.
Really?
When I'm in the city, which is most of the time, I'm never not in that store.
Really? I'm surprised to hear that. Yeah,
I check it. I'm very detail-oriented. When I'm in Asia, I'm answering emails every day. I'm on the phone all the time. I'm talking with suppliers.
All about the business?
All about the business.
So, do you have any difficulty separating, wearing the two different hats, separating this side of you from that side of you? I mean, there must be a time when you're standing in front of a big, exciting painting like the one behind you, where you just have to throw yourself into it and not think about anything else.
The way I look at it is the morning, the time I have in the morning is mine. Once I enter the business, my day is over.
So how long do you allow yourself that's pure creativity for you? Till noon?
I go through different periods. I mean, when I'm traveling, typically I'll draw for an hour and a half in the morning.
What, even when you're away?
When I'm traveling, that's where all my sketchbooks are.
The notebooks and stuff?
I've finished, 20 or 30 sketchbooks now of the silverleaf drawings. And then I try to take another hour and a half during the day in the morning to paint.
So you'll draw and sketch in notebooks even when you're in some hotel room in Beijing,
Absolutely.
right?
And they're all labeled. I mean, if you look through my notebooks, you'll see Ben Woolfitt, Shanghai, April 7th, 1999, or
the thing with people with notebooks, I mean, it's all very pleasurable, but then it's very difficult for people to retrieve things from the notebooks and make use of them. Do you find them to be, is there a direct way that you can use your notebooks to make your major art?
The drawings are very, it's a very different body of work than the paintings.
Are they an end in themselves?
Yeah. They are a way, they're like my diaries. In other words, when I'm traveling, I write in on the drawings, what is closest to my heart, what is the most troubling. And when I'm back in the city, I have my time in my studio. My paintings are very contemplative. I used to be a one-shot painter.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do a painting in one sitting.
Either worked or didn't,
yeah,
right?
And it either worked or didn't. These days, I lay down between 90 and 150 coats of paint.
Good God.
On a painting.
That's a prodigious amount.
Yeah, and when it's done, it's done. And otherwise, painters have said to me, "Come on, Ben, you can do it faster." I said, what's the point? I mean,
But 90 coats to it. But never mind, in essence, regardless of that, you're very prolific.
I do a lot of paintings.
Do you work on more than one painting at a time?
I usually work on 6 paintings at a time, but when I'm laying down a coat of paint, it maybe takes me 15 minutes.
And then you can move to the next picture.
And then so usually I just go, it's like a dance. I just go from one to the other.
Huh.
And if I find that I hit a painting that I can't talk to, I stop.
Really?
And I just leave it until I can come back to it.
It's very personal for you, yes?
Yeah. Or I'll hang it up and just say, okay, so, maybe it's there. Maybe it's later.
This internationalism of yours, is this a rather recent development? Like sending out tentacles, getting dealers in Asia, and is this new?
Well, I showed in Thailand about 4 years ago, and I've shown quite a bit of work, and I lectured a lot in China. I lectured in India.
Really?
At the various universities, and then this show came up in Tokyo. So now I have a dealer in Tokyo. I have a dealer in Beijing.
Will you be preparing work for those shows?
Yeah, we haven't set up dates, but we've agreed that there will be shows.
It's ahead of you.
Yeah. They will I think in Tokyo I'll largely show drawings. They feel very attracted to, it's actually an interesting thing. I don't know if you know the composer Arvo Pärt.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, I love Arvo Pärt's. Alina's an amazing album.
Uh-huh.
And the silence in an Arvo Pärt is, to me, very striking. And the Japanese find that silence or pause in my work to be extremely stimulating to their aesthetic.
Yeah. They understand you.
Yeah.
And you understand them.
Exactly. It's something that's very, congenial there.
I'm impressed. Congratulations on all this extension of your sensibility. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.